If you're ready to stop building someone else's dream and start creating your own, join our free community, the Self-Directed Network, at acesmanagementinc.com/school. It's where people leaving their W-2s come together to build freedom, purpose, and momentum toward what's next. Welcome to Life After W-2. I'm your host, John Chan. After 17 years in corporate America, I made the leap to build my own business. It was messier than I thought it would be, but also full of valuable lessons I didn't know I needed. This show is about sharing shifts in mindset, pivots in strategy, and personal changes that come with pursuing financial freedom. You're not alone in this. We're all figuring it out, one step at a time. Welcome to Life After W-2. On today's episode, I sit down with Lisa Brown for a real look at moving from a corporate W-2 track into entrepreneurship. We get into what that transition actually feels like, the imposter syndrome, the messy middle, and what it takes to build a digital presence that drives real business. Or you are already in it and trying to find footing, this one will give you a clearer map. Lisa, so glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your W-2 life.
Wow, my W-2 life has been a wild ride. You might take you like you want me to start from the beginning and take you to where I'm at today or what I do now?
More about what you're doing when you made that decision. I no longer want to do this, and then I want to go off and build my own business. What we'll do is we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about your transition from the time you decided to actually doing it, and then from there, the next 6 months to a year of figuring things out. Yeah.
Okay. So my W-2 life started in the corporate world. I worked for a lot of Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies doing digital marketing. And it was hard for me to move up in corporate America. I'd get, right to the cusp and couldn't get promoted, couldn't just make that next transition into my career. So I bounced around from employer to employer, just trying to, get those wheels turning to get promoted. And I was just feeling that burnout. But there was always something yearning inside of me that I didn't fit. I don't know if anybody would felt that way. I felt like I did not belong in the corporate world. Still kept going along and about 3 years ago, my mother got ill, and I was still working for a major employer, and, taking care of her, I had to put in more time to take care of her because senior care, well, we won't even go into that because that was a joke. And so I decided to leave that W-2 life and create my own, which was starting my own business, Studio 951, and my podcast, Side Hustle Saturday. And it was, I'll tell you, John, when I did that, I felt like the weight of the world fell off my shoulders. Now, I didn't have a plan, and we're going to get into that. I didn't have an exit strategy. I just jumped and I did it. It just felt right. I did it for a reason, but when I did it, I was like, oh my God, this was the best thing that had ever happened to me. And from there, I built my business, mistakes and all. I was just learning as I went along. I have built it. It was about 4 years ago, and I haven't looked back. I haven't turned back. I built a thriving digital marketing agency right now where I work with nonprofits and looking to expand that. And went from an LLC to an S Corp now and just learning as I go and now doing things that I thought I would never do or the corporate world would never allow me to do that I'm doing right now.
It's funny because a couple things you said there was one is that you never felt like you fit in. I never felt like I
Yeah.
fit in, even though like the people around me were great people, nice people. I had a really good career.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, I just never felt like it fit me. It suited me. And then the next thing you mentioned was, which may seem like a throwaway, but the fact that you went from an LLC to an S corp, like it's little
Yeah.
things that we go through that we think we're doing it the right way, or maybe at the time it works. But then as
Mhm.
you go through it and you grow, then things kind of change. It kind of brings me back to when you get advice from someone who's, light years ahead of you, way ahead of you, like
Yeah.
10, 20, 30 years ahead of you. And they're telling you, oh, you need to do it a certain way because this is how
Yeah.
I do it. It might
Uh-huh.
not work for you now because you still have to go through the LLC stage before you get to the S corp stage.
100%. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I always tell my entrepreneurs or the people that I give business consultation to, do not file your LLC right away. Wait till you make some money. I say, wait till you start making like $600. Then go through the process of getting that LLC and setting up your business because you could do all of that, set up your LLC, and then totally not make any money. And
Mhm.
so you've gone through that process for what? And now you're discouraged. So I just tell them, see if it's going to work first, make that first 600 and then go ahead and put the wheels in motion.
Yeah, I like that advice because, you see people that say, I have a LLC set up. I can't come up with a name. And then they're worried about the name not being the right, what it should be. Then they go out and they build a logo. They pay someone to build a logo. They pay
Mhm.
someone to build a website. And then at the end of it, they said, oh, I don't even want to do this anymore, or it doesn't work. So I have to redo everything. So I like that. Make some
Uh-huh.
money first before you spend money on the business. Make sure that, I guess it's like the reward. You actually want to do it.
Yeah, I always say start messy.
Oh,
You got to start. I
yeah.
think the true characteristic of an entrepreneur is they take chances, they take risks. And if you are not a risk taker, don't even start. Don't even quit your job. Don't even step into this arena because you got to be able to take risks and learn from those mistakes because you might fall flat on your face, seriously, and you may fail. But if you're the type of person that can pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and learn from your mistakes and keep it pushing, then this is entrepreneurship is for you because that's exactly what it is. It's a lot of unknowns and risk taking.
Yeah. So you'd mentioned that you kind of left your job and you didn't really have a plan. I mean, when you were
Yeah.
talking about your background, to me, it just made sense of digital marketing because that's what you do and there's a future in it.
Yeah.
So when you
hmm
left your job, how long did it take you to go from I'm going to do it to actually leaving?
Fell into it. I left because the real reason why I left was to take care of my mother
Mhm.
because it was just so expensive. I knew I had the skill set of digital marketing and I love to network. I mean, I'm the networking ninja. Even at work, I'm a connector. So I would always be networking, talking to people. It wouldn't benefit me, it would benefit others, but I had that skill set and that gift. And literally, I fell into the business by helping out my son. He was doing a project on his own off to the side. It was an event. He said, I need help. I ended up meeting with the person that was ahead of the event, and it just kind of tumbled in the air. I was like a lot of word of mouth. My biggest client right now that I have that I'm working with was due to a networking event that I attended and participated in. And I've worked for them for now almost 2 years. So it was like little things that I kind of like fell into to kind of grow my business because I'll be honest, I did not know what I was doing. I started messy, like I said before, and I built myself on the way up and learned from that and didn't have a plan. Now, I would not suggest that for other people, and I don't when I consult, but that was my journey, and I learned from that. And I made some financial mistakes, some big ones. I'm still digging myself out of. But again, that allowed me to help other people to not make those mistakes and to help guide them along the way. So it was, you learn a lot about yourself and it was very eye opening. But I'll tell you, I would not want to go back. It would have to be something very serious for me to throw up a peace sign, take down my open sign, and go back to working for somebody else. I don't think I could do it. I could not push myself to do it.
Yeah. I just like how you say that it was messy. You didn't really have a plan. I mean, when I left June of 24, I had a plan. I
Mhm.
thought I had a plan, but within a month or two, that was completely scrapped and I went in a completely different direction. Um, and yeah, like it was a ton of like chaos and messiness, and I learned a lot of hard lessons. But I feel like that was what I had to go through in order to get better. So you mentioned that
Mhm.
there's a lot of messiness. Like what's some of the examples?
Wow. I think one of the messy things was the finances, my money. My money. To be completely transparent, I completely emptied my 401k. to start my business and to live off of.
Mhm.
Now, hear me now, everybody out there that's listening to this podcast, do not do that. That was a mistake I made, but that was messy. I should have never have done that. And number 2 is I should have had an exit strategy. I was thinking about leaving and I knew I didn't fit in, but I just jumped. I jumped out the plane with no parachute, and I was like, "I'll figure it out." That was messy. I shouldn't have never have done that. I should have had some sort of strategy besides, "Well, I'll just empty out my 401k. I'll live off of that, and I'll be good." No, sir. No, sir. I should have never have done that. So those were some of the messy mistakes that I made, John. Today, when I think about it, that built me to the entrepreneur I am today, because if that wouldn't have happened to me, then I wouldn't be able to talk to other people and give them advice, because I was surprised that, first you feel ashamed, like I did some stupid stuff.
Mhm.
I ain't even gonna talk about it. But sometimes it's what you know and what people don't know is the knowledge and power that they need in order to grow.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it was a good lesson to learn because, I mean, one, you kind of backed yourself into a corner. You said, like, "This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pay heavy penalties on this money, but I'm going all in, and it has to work because there's no other option."
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I had options, but it was just like I didn't wanna do it. Sometimes people for me, I can only speak for me. I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, I was at the end of my rope. I was just tired. I just didn't wanna work for anybody else because, like I had said earlier, I just felt like I did not fit in. I could not It just didn't feel right. You know when something is right or you're in harmony or in alignment with something when you can feel it. And I just felt unaligned. I felt like this is not right for me. Something is not working. I need to do something. And now where I'm at, it feels right. It feels good. I feel alignment. Have I made some mistakes? Yes, I have. But I don't feel like I don't fit in and I don't belong.
Yeah, and I think just mistakes are part of the territory. Like, you can't no one can go through this without going through some mistakes. I mean, a lot of the people 99% of the people I speak to who are successful and are running their own businesses, I mean, they've made 10, 20, $100,000 mistakes easy. Now they're way on top and it's like nothing to them, but it's I kind of feel like it's part of paying your dues.
You think
Someone I met
so?
Yeah, because someone I met, just 2 weeks ago said, "You're gonna pay in either time or you're gonna pay in time and you're gonna pay in money, and there's nothing like, there's no way around it. Like, you're gonna pay in both. You have to pay in
Mhm.
both in order to get to where you wanna go."
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, you might be right about that, about paying your dues, but I don't know. I think you're always paying your dues when you're an entrepreneur. I don't think there's ever a point, to me. This is just
Mhm.
me. I mean, you challenge me if you
Yeah.
feel like I'm wrong. I don't think there's ever a point where you're like, "I'm on top, I made it, I'm good, hey, pay my dues. I don't have to do nothing else but sit here and collect this money." I just don't think there's ever a point, because economy shifts, generation shifts, and if your business stays stagnant, your business is going to shift. And I mean on the decline, not on the upswing. So I think you always got to be ahead of the curve and always, even though you feel like you made it, I think you're always on that. Okay, what's next? What's next? What I got to do to keep me relevant, keep me growing? Am I going to scale? Am I going to sell? You're always thinking about that when you're an entrepreneur, even when you're working.
Yeah, you're right because one of the things when I first got started was, okay, I want to get through all these problems, I want to solve them
Yeah.
all, and then I won't ever have to worry about them again. But my mentor said, no, like, that's not how it works. You want to solve all these problems because you want to graduate to the next level of problems to solve. And then once you clear all those out, then you move up to the next level of problems. So you're right. Like, I never looked at it like that, but yeah, you're never going to get to where you want to be because that's always a moving target and you're always going to be paying your dues. Is how well are you able to adapt and handle these things?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that way. And I think there's just a lot of unknowns when you step into the realm of entrepreneurship. I mean, you could be here today, gone tomorrow, grand opening, grand closing, I always say. But I feel like If you stay ahead of the curve, like mentioned before, and you're willing to take those chances and willing to really evolve yourself, because you still got to keep learning and growing and educating yourself in order for your business to thrive. Like right now, if I wouldn't get on the AI train, I could just hang up my shingle right now because that is what is in the culture. It's all AI. And if
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm not doing AI, my business isn't going to participate, I will not be here for very long because that's what it's all about. So that's what I mean about growth and evolving your business and getting on on board and on trend.
Yeah, absolutely. So 100% agree. You have to keep up with the growing technology, you have to adapt or you're just going to get left behind.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so we talked about some like messiness financially. What about on your day to day? Because for me, it was hard to go from consultant where you're billed hourly to now you're kind of running the entire business and it doesn't really matter how many hours you put in.
Yeah.
What's some changes you had to make in your day to day?
Oh my God. It's funny that you brought this up. I just was talking to a client about this. It was time management. For a long time, for 20 years, somebody was always dictating what my day was. You do this from 8 to 5. It was dictated. And that's all I knew. And so when I stepped out of that, now I have to manage my own time. And that was hard for me. I mean, I was like, I suck at this. It wasn't like, okay, well, I'm going to just pick this up and have the same regimen. No, because now you're experiencing freedom. I don't have to ask you for a day off. I can go and do what I want to do. If I want to go to the grocery store during the middle of the day, that's my business and I can do that.
Mm.
So it was managing my meetings. A when you first start, you hungry, so you're just gonna take whatever you can. Having meetings early in the morning, late at night, or they'll be so stacked during the day, you don't have time to do anything else. And being able to manipulate my time to where I like to get up and work out, or I don't want to work on the weekends. I was working through the weekends, all crazy hours, working late at night. I want to be able to maintain a healthy work-life balance. And I know some people don't believe in that, but for me, I do, but I wanted to be able to give that time back that I lost when I felt like I was working for somebody. And I sucked at that. So that was one of the things that I realized that I sucked at time management. Now, and it's been 4 years, now I'm just now mastering my calendar, if you can believe that. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm learning that the mornings, oh, I am on point in the mornings. I'm more creative in the mornings. You've got my attention in the mornings, and that's pre-coffee." That's when I really kick in. By 3 o'clock, you need to make a calendar invite for the next day because now I'm winding down and I'm done for the day. My brain is like, we're tired now, and I learned that about my rhythm and where I excel at, the time of day I excel at, and what I want to do with my time.
Yeah. I think I'm 5 years into like my real estate journey and I'm
Hmm.
just now finally getting a handle on my calendar. So yeah, it's definitely a transition.
Yeah, yeah. What do you feel like? What did you learn about yourself?
I learned a lot. I mean, 24 to 25 has been there's just a lot of new challenges for me.
Hmm.
And I think one of the biggest things that I've had to change was my relationship with money because I had always made really good money in consulting and accounting.
Hmm.
And so the answer to everything was to take money and throw it at a problem, but that doesn't work because you're not in it. So marketing was like one of the big things, right?
Hmm.
Take the money and then put it into marketing. Like give it to someone else to market for you. But
Hmm.
they're not always gonna be aligned with what is it you wanted to put out there, whatever it is. So for me, it's like, okay, save your money, run as lean as possible, and then figure it out yourself. Once you have a really good idea of what you want to happen or what you want the message to be, then you can go out there and then hire an agency and tell them exactly what is it you want to do and how you want it done.
Hmm.
That was the relationship with money has been the biggest change for me.
No digital footprint. I've come across, and that's not because I'm in digital marketing, but I've come across people that have been in business for years and have no digital footprint. And I mean, no website. 99% of my business that I run, I build websites. I build and design websites. And then the other part of that is I do a marketing strategy. We don't go anywhere. We don't build no website without a strategy about how you're going to grow and scale your business. What do you want to do? It starts with a plan. And I have seen entrepreneurs that out here working, and I'm not talking about TikTok or Instagram. They have nothing to say, I'm legit, I'm in business, nothing. And so that's what I've seen is that number one. Number two, no plan. They're in the business, right? But they don't know how to grow and scale. And I'm not saying add a bunch of SKUs. I'm not saying, oh, open another business. There are other growth streams to growing and scaling your business that you can do besides adding additional things to the business, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think the digital footprint is something that, at least with my generation, it was tough because we looked at
Mhm.
social media as like the new thing, and it's just people going out there to get attention. But
Right.
unfortunately, attention turns into revenue.
It does, but I think you gotta be strategic with it.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah,
before, I would say pre-AI, you just got on there and you grew, your following by just showing up every day. I think it's tougher now. I think there's a lot of
mhm,
competition. Now you're competing with a computer generated whatever it is out there.
yeah,
Number one, algorithms change like the wind. So you don't know what's going on, and that's across all the social media streams.
yeah,
So I think right now, I think for me, I think the trend for 2026 is building that tribe and gaining that loyal customer base.
mm,
Because it's not going to matter where you've got 10 people or 10,000 people. If people like your product, they like your customer service, your business is good, and they can relate to you, you've got a business
yeah,
because you've got so many barriers and competition out there. It's not going to matter what you do, how many TikToks you got on there. It is not going to matter because now you're competing with a computer. What's gonna matter is how genuine, authentic you are, and do I like you? Do I wanna do business with you? I think that's what's gonna matter the most.
yeah. Again, with I mean, even on Facebook, I'll just see posts, and you can just tell immediately this was AI generated.
100%.
So it's who are the individuals that are actually gonna be human and, I guess, present themselves, I think
Mhm.
is what I've heard is like the next thing, which is kinda weird because everyone's moving towards technology and AI, but here we're saying, like, humanize it. Be yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and people relate to authenticity, and if they can relate to you, if I'm selling a product and that hits home for you, I'm gonna buy it. I mean, you've done it, I've done it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I need that. They're gonna buy it. So I think the more you show up and the more you can relate to that customer base that you're trying to target, forget about the followers and how many people. It's you're trying to build a customer base, just like you have if you had a brick and mortar. You just have to think of it that way.
yeah, so true. So, I mean, one of the things that I like to ask about, because I think mindset is like, we talk about technicals and you talk about strategy, but mindset is, I would say, a huge part of this life that we've chosen. So what's the biggest mindset hurdle you've had to get over?
Imposter syndrome. That's the biggest one. And I know I just said earlier, like, yeah, go ahead and start, Bessie. I did. But I ain't gonna lie, it was imposter syndrome because, you look at other people that are out here that you compare yourself to other people. We all do it, right?
Yeah,
And it was like, who am I to be out here talking about or consulting anybody? Do I really have the knowledge? Do I have the skill set to even talk to anybody about business? And I'll tell you, John, as I was, growing my business, I fell into things that I would have never in a million years thought I would do. Like, for example, I'm teaching now not at the college level, but I'm teaching entrepreneurs about entrepreneurship. Never crossed my mind. People are like, hey, can you teach a class? And it's paid. And it's like, Yeah, because they wanna hear what you've learned because there is always an audience. I say this all the time. There's an audience for somebody. Like
Mm.
there's a house for somebody, there is an audience for somebody, and they're gonna hear you and take note and take what you tell them and apply those learnings. So, learning that, that imposter syndrome and trying to get over that and saying, "Yeah, I can do that." Not to be, like have an ego about it, but just getting over the fact that I do have something to say and people want to hear it and people are going to pay for what you got to say. And I am somebody. I pay my dues. I've worked 20 years. I know what I'm talking about. I still educate myself. Why can't I go out here and talk to other people that don't know? So getting over that hurdle was
Yeah, that's I went to a mastermind, and this guy that was speaking, his name's Dean Graziosi, worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
oh yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he still deals with imposter syndrome. If you got it, then I guess it's never going away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the ways that people mitigate that is they'll say, like, would the you from 6 months ago want to hear what the you now has to say? And I mean, as long as you're moving forward, I think the answer is yes. And if that's not enough, then would the you 5 years ago want to hear what you had to say today? Then yeah,
100%, and I like how you put that because it's like, you're right, me in 2016 versus now me in 2026, would I sign up for this person's class? I think I would. Yeah, I would.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So I mean, on that note, like, what's knowing what you know now? What's some advice that you would give to yourself when you just made that jump?
I have a plan, and, have a plan and believe in yourself. Think that, not having the confidence and not believing in yourself because I run into a lot of people are like, "Oh, no, I can't do that." Yes, you can. You can do it. I came from a retail background. That's how I started out when I started from college, and I worked for one of the toughest retailers out there. Every time I would say, "Oh, I work for X company," they're like, "Ooh, girl, you do?" 'Cause they knew you had to have tough skin. So, I would say, having that business acumen and then coming out of the workforce and then being able to apply those learnings and still having what I learned 20 years ago, has really helped me build to the entrepreneur I am today. Now, I still have a lot to learn. I do not know it all. And I would be foolish to sit here and say, yep, I know it all. No, but I know more today than I did, like you said, last month, 3 months from now, 12 months ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
I do know that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's great advice. Have a plan. It sounds simple, but
Have a
just have a
plan.
plan. Well, Lisa, it's been so great to hear your story and learning about you and how you've kind of grown into this. How can you help people and how can people work with you?
You can find me on 2 different platforms. First and foremost, you can go to my website, studio-951.com, scroll down the middle of the page, book a complimentary consultation, and let's chat. Let's talk about your business. Let's see how we can grow and scale your business. If you wanna come and just chat with me about entrepreneurship, about your side hustle. I have a podcast called Side Hustle Saturday. You can find me on YouTube under Side Hustle Saturday, or you can find me on my website at sidehustlesaturday.co, C-O, not com, C-O. And schedule to be a guest on the show. If you want to sponsor my show, I'm looking for sponsors, y'all. You can do that as well and sponsor, but just reach out. Let's chat. Let's collaborate. Entrepreneurship can't be entrepreneurship unless we grow, network, and collaborate.
Yeah, we'll have those links in the description just to make life easier for everyone. And Lisa, thank you again for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you, John, for having me. This has been so much fun. This has been great.
What is going on with this thing? That's it for today's episode of Life After W2. I'm John Chan, and I appreciate you tuning in. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who's ready to take control of their financial future. And if you're curious about how self-directed retirement accounts can unlock opportunities in alternative investing, grab our free guide. It's packed with insights to help you get started. The link's in the description. See you next time.